Hello, everybody. Welcome to day number 4. Me and my little assistant, Kiari. I don't know if you can see her. I have 3 fur babies, 2 young ones. They're 14 months, 16 months. I'm a little sit. And here's the other one. She's getting jealous. All right, let's jump in. And thank you so much for being here with me, whether you're watching this live in the moment or you're watching the replay. Let me know either way. Let me know where you're tuning in from, what's up with you, how things are, and if there's anything really that you want to share. I love to know and love to support you as well. So today, what is going on with my throat? I don't know. Hold on. Let me have a little sip. So today it is day number 4. So for the last few days, 3 days, we've gone through learning a little bit about emotions, learning a little bit about where they come from. Oh, I don't know, honestly. I don't know. I brush my teeth. I gargle in the morning for some whatever reason. This is happening around this time. Um, and so we talked about emotions, where they come from, if they belong to us or not, and really understanding a little deeper how we can let them go. And one of the things that I actually been learning is not so much about completely letting them go, but really is asking the questions and really spending some time with that. This is applied to anything, including fears, including beliefs that are not serving us anymore, including behaviors that we're trying to get rid of, that we're trying to stop from doing them, and anything, basically anything that is present in our lives that we are considering or thinking, you know what, I don't think I need this anymore. Maybe I should move on. Now, here's the thing, not a lot of us are aware of it, but what we are aware of is that something when something doesn't vibe anymore, when something is not serving, we just kind of feel like something's got to happen. But that's why we are here. That's why I am here as a coach and as a friend to guide you and let you know, because we do need to recognize that we need to find the tools and how can we actually work to heal from them, right? So today we're going to talk about finding the message. What is that message in disguise? Now, if you I'm sure you've heard about this, like there's always a silver lining in disguise or in life, right? And I'll tell you a little story, okay? First of all, before I start with my story, I'll tell you your soul, with basically anything that happens to you, has quote unquote a reason, has some sort of a meaning for it being in our life. And your soul, it wouldn't bring things to you or into your life if it didn't know that you had the potential or the strength or the power to go through it. All right. So for me, that is so powerful because it really weights off a little weight, lifts off a little weight from my shoulders, because it allows me to really see and just kind of, lean back a little bit and say, oh, okay, it's not just me. I'm not in this alone, because I am supported by a higher being, a higher energy, or my soul, which is something that I talk a lot about. If you know me or have been following me for a while, you know that I talk a lot about our spirit, our soul, and really being very conscious to come from that place of being in our soul, right? So your soul wouldn't bring you those experiences if it didn't know that you actually could go through them and come back stronger. All right. So my little story is 9 years ago or so. Um, Obviously, it didn't cross my mind that when I was diagnosed with cancer, that I will think, oh, great, I got something that is bringing me a medicine, is bringing me a good thing, a good message that I can use for my own healing. That never happens. That never happens to anyone who's going through some health challenges. It never happens to anybody who is going through some struggles. It never happens to women who are physically abused. It never happens to anyone who is really taken out of her body. Uh, uh, Sorry, I'm kind of slow today. Taken out of her physical body or mental body or spiritual body. It never happens that when somebody right away gets hit by something, we think, yes, I cannot wait to see what the message is. I cannot wait to see what's the silver lining in this situation. It doesn't, because we are not so accustomed. We have not grown up thinking there is always something good about it, right? We right away go into the mindset of, oh my gosh, why me? Oh, like, is this the end of the world? Our mind starts going to the process of thinking all the worst things that can happen. If it is cancer, we start thinking about death. We start thinking about losing hair. We start thinking about losing weight, getting sick. We think about all the bad things that come with a disease. The same thing it could be with sexual abuse. I know a lot of women out there who've been molested, raped, even from people they knew and never imagined. Okay. And it is so impressive to me how, and this is something that I got to learn a lot more because I'm in this space of coaching and entrepreneurship. And a lot of people that I know, who, especially women who've been raped or molested, are also coaches. It was so interesting to me and so unbelievable to see how resilient women are, because after something traumatic that happened in the past, which is being molested or raped, how they came back stronger. And then they're using also that, the lesson that they could rescue, the medicine, the reason, quote unquote reason, even though for a lot of us it doesn't make sense to see or think, why would there be a reason in being raped? Why would there be a reason, a good reason for having a diagnosis with cancer? What is a good reason for losing somebody, a loved one, and say that is a medicine for you? It is hard to comprehend, right? But again, it really isn't the mindset, and it's really it takes a lot about us in realizing that there is something that we can actually take away and not live in that victim space, not think of us as being victims. So a lot of these women who I know personally, I know them, who are also coaches or therapists and who've been in the past raped or molested. This is just an example, okay? So that you can actually see how for a woman something so traumatic turned around into something that actually can be healing. And they have forgiven, they have let go. And of course, it takes time and it's still a process, but they have come to a place in which they can actually create a new story, create something that it is true for them and nothing based on the past, nothing based on what happened. And again, I'm so unbelievably amazed as how resilient these women are, and how much trauma their body, physical body, emotional body, and spiritual body had to go through for them to come back the way they did, and how they're changing lives and how they are actually teaching people, other women who either are going through the same or other trauma that happened in the past, and how to come back better. Or also, which is something that I personally believe, and that's what one of the things why I also teach people about wellness and health, in the sense of finding the gift in disguise. Even if you are diagnosed with this or that, you can still live a life of joy. Even if you have cancer, this is again an example, but I'm talking from my personal experience. Even if you have cancer, or even for some people who have, families who are suffering from anything, um, there is still a way of living life in a good way, a good lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle. Because I still consider myself healthy. Like, I don't look like I have cancer, but I'm really putting myself in that mindset that no, I'm healing, and every single day I'm grateful for it. So two main things that come when it's recognizing the medicine in the shadow, medicine in the pain, medicine in the all the bad things that probably happened, is including, and obviously this has to do with emotions, right? Because when something bad happens in the past, we hold on to the emotions, resentment, anger, and all of that we've been talking about for the last few days. But one way to actually let them go, release, and not let them go as in like, I don't want this feeling or emotion in my life or in my body. It's not so much kicking it off, but it's really sitting with it and really understanding that there is a reason or a meaning for it. And compassion and grateful or gratitude are the two main things. And of course, forgiveness. What is going on with my English? Hold on a second. Um, So I would say those three main things: compassion, which they are tied up together, right? Having compassion, it allows you to be grateful, and it allows you to forgive the person, the situation, yourself, your feeling, so that you can actually see that there is something for you to really keep with you or let it go, right? And so people say, well, how do I let it go? I don't care about everything else. Well, first of all, we need to understand what it is that we want to let go, why and what it is, right? So let's say people who have suffered in the past as children, let's say a child has grown up without family, has, like a lot of trauma around everything. Now, as an adult, is having a hard time with relationships or holding jobs or in general being an adult. And one of the things that might happen is either that person is trying to just bypass all the things in between and be okay after the trauma. But understanding the trauma will really allow us to see, okay, what we think is a bad thing, yes, it could appear as being a bad thing, but did it allow you to, maybe in that example, maybe you could be a little more independent because you thought that you didn't have anybody you could rely on. So now you are the one looking for the resources. You're leaning on other people, or you're leaning on yourself to really come through, right? I know also a lot of people who lost their parents when they were young, or they were adopted or whatever, but they got to learn from a young age of taking care of themselves. Yes, probably was tough. Yes, it was traumatic. Yes, it wasn't the best situation for them, but they did it, and they learned to basically mature earlier than most kids, most people. People with cancer or disease, or including myself, when I think about it, like, what is the message? For me, it's really, and plus, part of me is already super highly emotional and an empath. So for me, it's really relate my pain, my suffering, what's up here. Because it really, when I was going through the healing process of cancer, I really started to learn and understand more about my mindset and where my mind was, and really about my emotions as well, and how much I was so in my head, holding on resentment towards my parents, holding on to anger because I felt like they didn't love me, or I felt abandoned, which again, it was a created story, not that it was a fact. But that's what my mind created because it tried to keep me safe. Again, from yesterday, because it was better for me to think that I was abandoned and then right away close up and protect myself, rather than think, oh, everything is fine, I'm just still open and quote unquote vulnerable. So our mind, our ego, that little thing that is trying to protect us, is nothing bad that is doing to cause harm in us. However, in our mind, it does eventually, if it stays there for too long, it does eventually would cause um, rejection or feeling of rejection. It will affect in other ways. But at the same time, it was the best thing for us in the moment to keep us safe. The thing that, no, you can trust people. Because when you trust people, you're going to get hurt. And we don't want you to get hurt. So when we start sitting with these things, as right now, what I just told you, my belief that I created of feeling abandoned, it was the best thing that in that moment my body had, or my mind had to create to keep me safe. And that is in a sense a good thing because it's always trying to keep me in a good place. So it's going back to those moments, whether it's years ago when the belief or the emotion started and got created, and assess and see, why did I think that? Why would I make that story that either I was abandoned? Why would I create the story that men are all like shit and they don't love me? Why would I create the story that I'm not worthy of a good relationship? Why could I create a story that I'm in this alone, that nobody else understand what I have to say or what I have to give? Why would I create the story that I'm not a good person and that nobody likes me? Why could so once we start asking those questions, which is really what I usually teach people, is sitting with that fear, that shadow, and having tea with it. And when I say having tea, it means really spending some time almost face to face, and you can do this through a visualization, but really asking the questions, getting to know it. And I think I said it yesterday or the day before, treat it as as this one friend that sometimes is in your life and is in health or in cancer. That's how I see it. Cancer is probably is going to be part of my life. So if it is going to be part of my life, it doesn't help me at all to be angry at it or to be resentful with it or to hold any kind of grudges or any negative emotions towards it, because it's not going to be helpful for me. And so if we are going to have a relationship, it's better to keep it cordial and okay, so that we can quote unquote live together. But I always have to say, but I'm the one who pretty much is leading, and this little cancer is way in the back. And so, and it's just kind of like falling through. And so the same thing could be with any other feeling or emotion. So that, my friends, that's how I actually started getting rid of anger and resentment, because I was feeling so much of that. And I don't know if some of you guys do know or are familiar with the work of Louise Hay. She's very into, she's gone now, but she has a lot of books, and she talks a lot about the body, about holding on emotions and how that affects our health. And one of the things that she said is, for people who develop cancer, is that they've been holding on to a lot of resentment, and it stays in the body so much for so long that it will create the disease. Scientifically, I don't know if it is proven, but it kind of does make sense for some of us who've spent some time with it. I'm like, oh, okay. And the way I see it, and look, this is coming from a scientist, because maybe some of you know I'm also a scientist and I do science for a living. And and as a scientist, I would say I do believe that yes, our bodies, our energetic body, holds on to a lot of things for whatever crazy reason, and then it will manifest into a physical form. In this case, a disease. And I, as a scientist, I like to believe that as much as it was created for whatever reason, it also can be undone. Or our cells, our mind can also shift it around and convert it into something else, which I call, as far as cancer or health, that you can still, like I said, you can still live with it, but be okay with it and be gaining wisdom through it. Hopefully, this makes sense. So, one of the things that I will say is, in order for us to let it go, and here's the thing, you don't just let go something. Look, let's say you have trash, you have a garbage, you have, like, I don't know, something that you want to get rid of it from your house. What do you normally do? You just throw it away. Sometimes you don't even think about it, you just throw it away because it's trash, right? But let's say something has been sitting with you for a while. Let's say a piece of furniture. Because if it's something that is just there and it appear, and then that didn't last that long, there's no attachment to it. But if it's something that has been there for quite some time, i.e., all your life, if it's your emotions, um, there is attachment. There is some sort of relationship with that emotion, right? There is an attachment. So it is tough to just like drop it and let it go completely, because you spent a long time with it. So if it's a piece of furniture or a book or something that has been with you, look, if you will look my office right now, I have a bunch of books right here in my bookcase. But a lot of them I read, and some of them I've kept for years and years that I just don't read or haven't read or don't read anymore. But I just don't get rid of it because there is some sort of attachment. So if we want to get rid of it, what do we do? Well, this is what I'll do, okay? I will probably, let's say if this is the book, I will probably like look at it. I will like go through it and see, why did I get it from in the first place? Like, what was I thinking when I got it? What was I in? Like, was I trying to study this or whatever? And then, do I still need it? Like, do I need it? Is it just taking space and dust, or am I gonna use it again? I will quote unquote study it. I will quote unquote try to feel a connection. Like, does it really vibe with me or not? Does it bring joy into my life or not? Again, this is on a physical thing that I'm trying to get rid of. Okay. For emotions, I mean, obviously, you're not gonna ask, well, do I need anger? I mean, yeah, in a sense, we should ask that question as well, because again, when we are angry or holding to those negative emotions, is because we're trying to be safe. So I would ask the questions: is this something that I still need anymore in my life or not? Is this something that is keeping me on track with what I do every day? Is it something that has to do with my coaching business, or something that has to do with my personal life? What is it about it? So I do spend some time and in that process, because probably I know that I don't need it anymore, and maybe I should give it away, should throw it away if it doesn't, if it's not usable, donate it, whatever. So in that process, as I'm doing that, what I'm doing also is I'm saying goodbye, because as I'm going through, it's like, no, yeah, I don't think I need this book anymore. Yeah, like it doesn't vibe with me. It doesn't. It gives me, whatever. Oh my gosh, what is? Um, and 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 then I think, yeah, it's too old. Yeah, it's not for me anymore. I'm just gonna get rid of it. So in that process, I'm kind of like, I think I'm done with it. Energetically, I'm saying goodbye to it. So with emotions, feelings, thoughts, any of these things that you don't touch and see, but you feel them in your body or in your mind, same kind of process is going through them, visualizing. So you can do a meditation and visualizing if this is still serving me or not. But before you do assess that, also is what is the meaning of why this was here with me. You can do a visualization in a meditation, closing your eyes and visualizing. Like for me, cancer was a shadow, and then give it a name if you want as well. Like angry Angie, or like sad Sally, one of those kind of things. And then you can start asking the question, but then also remember to bring gratitude and forgiveness. Like, thank you so much for being with me for so long, for 40 years, little angry Angie, but I don't need you anymore, because I know that what you brought into my life started in the past. It kept me safe in the past, but I'm okay now. I'm an adult and I am safe. And really is reinforcing that belief in you that you will always be okay. Really trusting in yourself that you are okay, that you don't need these feelings from the past, because they already did their job. They already have done their job. Whatever the job was, they got it done for you. And you probably will find out more about what their job was, again, if you sit with it. Like, why, if it's anger, why were you with me for so long? When did it start? These are just little tidbits of the process, but if we were working on this one-on-one, we can go in deeper, because really it's going into when did it start, what happened in that moment that really it clicked and it stayed with me, if it is anger, for example, right? And then really saying, okay, so you came into my life when I felt like everybody, like I didn't feel loved, everybody left me, blah blah blah, all those things. And then I start seeing why it kept coming back to me and stay with me for so many years. And then finally saying goodbye to it, because once again, that all of that is in the past and it has already done its job. So for that, you need to also be grateful, because just like anything, everything is energy. So that anger is energy. So acknowledge it, because that's what it wants, and then send it off with love and compassion. Because again, those tools are the most powerful tools that we can have, rather than anger, resentment, and really being like, oh my God, I don't want to feel this anymore, or towards another person, right? And you can do this practice even with people as well. If there is one person that has done you wrong, like betrayed you, cheated on you, like did all the bad things to you, and then obviously the relationship is off, you can still do this kind of work, and they don't need to know it, but really acknowledge it, send it off with love and compassion. And so that's what I will say you should do. If you still remember what is that one thing that I told you, I think day one or day two, about what is that one, maybe there is one that is more present than other ones, but one emotion that you've been feeling for a while now, that has been with you a lot more recently. Spend time with it and ask these kind of questions. Okay. um, I'll share some of the questions in an email with you guys who signed up. And also what I do is I ask the questions and I write it down in a piece of paper. And then what I do, I use the element of nature and the moon as well. So what I do is I use fire, because fire transforms, right? So I use fire to help me in that transformation. So what I'll do is I write it on a piece of paper, a little list. I'll fold it up, whatever, and then I'll lit it up with the fire of a candle. So basically, I do a ritual around it and sending it off. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for the medicine that you're bringing, because that's making me more resilient. That's making me stronger. That's allowing me to be more uh, sensitive to other people, resonating to other people's story. Is allowing me to heal and heal other people as well. So whatever that comes to mind, you send it out with gratitude. Send it out to the universe, send it out to nature as it is being transformed with the fire, and send it out always in gratitude and asking that it returns back in abundance. Okay, because everything is recycled, everything transforms. And so, and then also, yeah, so that's what I will say, that my little tip that I do, that it helps a lot, because again, it's not so much being in our minds around it and thinking about it, but also it's physically doing something as a gratitude, as a ritual. All right, I'm gonna get going. The kitties are kind of getting all rowdy here, but I'll see you back again tomorrow. Let me know how is everything going. Send me a DM, or reply back to my emails, and I'll see you guys again soon. Okay.